Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up on this hump day. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. In today's Entertainment Spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with author and poet Ravi Shankar discussing his new book, Correctional. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In international news, Ukrainian leaders say stay calm, Russia invasion is not imminent. Ukraine's leader sought Tuesday to reassure the nation that an invasion from neighboring Russia was not imminent, even as they acknowledged the threat is real and received a shipment of U.S. military equipment to shore up their defenses. Moscow has denied it is planning an assault, but it has amassed an estimated 100,000 troops near Ukraine in recent weeks and is holding military drills at multiple locations in Russia. That has led the United States and its NATO allies to rush to prepare for a possible war. U.S. President Joe Biden told reporters that Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to build forces along Ukraine's border, and an attack would be the largest invasion since World War II. It would change the world. Several rounds of high-stakes diplomacy have failed to yield any breakthroughs, and tensions escalated further this week. NATO said it was bolstering its deterrence in the Baltic Sea region, and the U.S. ordered 8,500 troops on higher alert for potential deployment to Europe as part of an alliance response force if necessary. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson also said he is prepared to send troops to protect NATO allies in Europe. We have no intention of putting American forces or NATO forces in Ukraine, Biden said, adding that there would be serious economic consequences for Putin, including personal sanctions, in the event of an invasion. In a show of European Union in Berlin, the German Chancellor and the French President called for easing of the crisis. The U.S. and its allies have threatened sanctions like never before if Moscow sends its military into Ukraine, but they have given few details, saying it's best to keep Putin guessing. The U.S. State Department has ordered the families of all American personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Kiev to leave the country, and it said that non-essential embassy staff could leave. Britain said it too was withdrawing some diplomats and dependents from its embassies, and families of Canadian diplomatic staff also have been told to leave. Ukrainian authorities, however, have sought to project calm. Speaking in the second televised speech to the nation in as many days, the President Zelensky urged Ukrainians not to panic. We are strong enough to keep everything under control and derail any attempt at destabilization, he said. The decision by the U.S., Britain, Australia, Germany, and Canada to withdraw some of their diplomats and dependents from Kiev doesn't necessarily signal an inevitable escalation, as it's part of a complex diplomatic game, the Ukrainian president said. We are working together with our partners as a single team. In national news, COVID-19 booster drive is faltering in the U.S. The COVID-19 booster drive in the U.S. is losing steam, worrying health experts who have pleaded with Americans to get an extra shot to shore up their protection against the highly contagious Omicron variant. Just 40% of fully vaccinated Americans have received a booster dose, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And the average number of booster shots dispensed per day in the U.S. has plummeted from a peak of 1 million in early December to about 490,000 as of last week. Also, a new poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research found that Americans are more likely to see the initial vaccinations rather than a booster as an essential. It's clear that the booster effort is falling short, said a vaccine policy expert at Yale University. Overall, the U.S. vaccination campaign has been sluggish. More than 13 months after it began, just 63% of Americans, or 210 million people, are fully vaccinated with the initial round of shots. Mandates that could raise those numbers have been hobbled by legal challenges. In more national news, a second NYPD officer dies days after Harlem shooting. A New York City police officer gravely wounded last week in a Harlem shooting that killed his partner has also died of his injuries, the city's police commissioner said on Tuesday, adding to what she called incalculable grief within the department. The officer was 27 years old and was taken off life support at a Manhattan hospital 4 days after a gunman shot him and another officer as they responded to a domestic disturbance call. In entertainment news, Elton John postpones Texas concerts after getting COVID-19. Despite being vaccinated and boosted, Elton John has contracted COVID-19 and is postponing 2 farewell concert dates in Dallas. John is experiencing only mild symptoms, according to a statement. Elton and the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour look forward to returning to the stage shortly. And finally, in business news, stocks end lower on Wall Street after another volatile day. Another volatile bout of trading on Wall Street ended with a broad pullback for stocks on Tuesday as investors grapple with economic red flags and uncertainty over how aggressive the Federal Reserve will be fighting rising inflation. Stock indexes fell sharply to start the day on Tuesday, then came well off their lows by late afternoon. Another burst of selling in the final hour of trading pulled them lower again. Technology stocks were the biggest drag on the market. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Your spiritual path is a private journey. Just as your life journey is your private journey, so is your personal spiritual path toward awakening. Your spiritual path leads you to a greater understanding of yourself. Your inner guidance, your knowings, lead you as they are your connection to your higher power, or God. These knowings lead you to open the right door at the right time. You understand this is the right path for you as you listen to your wonderful feelings created by your choice. Your passion is always found by asking yourself, what do I love to do? Or what do I enjoy doing? As you awaken to the life you are passionate about living, you become peaceful, happy, and confident. Today, become awake, connected, totally conscious, aware, and alive as you begin to walk on your private spiritual path. And as always, enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with Ravi Shankar in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author and poet Ravi Shankar joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to discuss his powerful new book called Correctional. Here's a bit of our conversation.
I think as someone who has never met you before, you definitely take us into not only your life journey, but also the reason why you're so passionate about things, especially when it comes to the rights of others. What has it been like for you, Ravi, to see the way that people are responding to the book?
Oh, it's been amazing, actually. I was just on a show in Alabama where a caller said that it was compulsively readable. And as a poet, to reach a large audience in this way has been gratifying. But also, my hope has always been that this book is not a static literary artifact, but the kind of thing that communicates the urgency of kind of getting involved and advocating for a more equitable society. And yes, definitely, the book seems to be reaching a wide spectrum of different people, which I've been very happy to see.
Ravi, the thing that surprised me that I did not know I would see in the book is how this is something that you kind of address in and out of the correctional system per se. Because one of the things I took away, and I'm curious as a writer what you would think, is that I think in many ways you talk about the institutions that are there around all of us. You talk about growing up and people wanting to be able to put you in a box. And I think a lot of people can relate to that about how they may perceive you to be one way, regardless of whether you are that way or not. Did you know going into the book that it was going to have such a wide-ranging view of how we look at life and also look at each other?
No, I mean, that's the beautiful revelatory thing about writing, and also the agonizing thing is that it's in the process of revision, rewriting, getting responses from my agent and trusted readers that a lot of those things develop. But you're exactly right. I mean, there are a number of threads in this narrative, and one of which is my parents' own immigration from South India and me growing up bicultural in the U.S. And of course, for Asians, there's this kind of model minority myth where we're supposed to be studious and diligent and hardworking and quiet. And I certainly felt all of those expectations.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. Provide you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.